Oh my gosh. It looks like a bomb went off in here. Today is Saturday, and I'm going to do the maintenance on my Longmill like I always do on Saturdays. And then I'm going to get the shop cleaned up. I'll tell you what happened. I got called last minute to do a project for our hunting camp, and we're building a blind, and I needed to put some windows in it and a door. And what you're looking at behind me here is the remnants of what happens when you rip a bunch of wood and chop saw. And interestingly enough, my shop vac died yesterday. I've got to go take a look at that as well. I'm hoping that it just needs to be reset. I haven't even looked at it. It stopped working. I didn't even bother. So my shop looks like it because of that. I'll let you have a better look at the floor. I'm going to get to the Longmill today. We're going to start a new project. Before I go any farther, I would like to say last week I posted a video, giveaway video for 3 projects and a great bit package from Sienci Labs. There'll be a link to that in the description below. Please go there and contribute to the comment section and subscribe to the channel so that you can get in that giveaway. And I really appreciate that. There's been a lot of response to that so far. I like your ideas for projects, and I have a couple in mind already that I think I'm just going to go ahead and build. One of them will be in this week's project. So I'm going to do my maintenance. I'm going to get the shop cleaned up, and then we'll be back with our next project. Hey everyone, welcome back to Bucky's Customs. Hey, in this video I'm going to talk about inlays, and specifically inlays for your Longmill. And if you're fortunate enough to own a Longmill, I'm sure you've thought about doing an inlay at a time or two. It's probably one of the most popular things to do besides making signs. You know, there's a lot of misconception about the inlay process, because people might think it's just difficult to do, when in fact it really isn't. And I will show you how I made this inlay. Simple one, just a letter, in this cutting board using Easel software. Hey everyone, before we get started with today's project, I want to say thank you to this week's sponsor, Sienci Labs, the makers of the Longmill benchtop CNC, just like the one we have here in our shop. If you're in the market for a CNC machine and you're not really sure what to get, go to their website, sienci.com, and check out this awesome machine. You'll be really happy you did. Now let's get back to our video. So what do you say we get started with Easel? We're going to open up a Chrome browser. I use Chrome. You can use whatever browser you want. Go to Easel. I have it already on a shortcut. And you do have to create an account if you've never used Easel before. I have the Pro version. Either way, it makes you log in. So we're going to log in. It brings you to a project screen. What we're going to do is I'm going to go to New Project. First thing I like to do is get rid of the simulation screen, bring the drawing board in the center, and we're going to create a text. We're going to use courgette. Now they bring text in pre-selected, so all you really need to do is just start typing. So in this case we're going to do a letter K. Click off of it, click back on it to select it, and we're going to put it in the center of our board. Now, what I want to do now is I want to come over here and I want to change our board. Today we're using walnut. The board's going to be 22 by 11 and a half, and our board is 2 inches thick. And no, we're not tiling. When you select the letter, it gives you the opportunity to come over here and make it size. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a 4-inch width, and I'm going to do an 8-inch height. I want this letter to be proud in the center of our project. A couple things I'd like to explain to you. Go down to the bottom right hand corner and you see there's a plus and minus. If you can't get your whole screen on your view, you can change that. You can grab the scroll bar here and center it. Now, bottom left hand corner, if you'd rather work in millimeters, right here is where you change that. Okay, so I also prefer, when I'm doing an inlay or a carving, depending on where the carving is going to be. If it's going to be in the middle of my project, I prefer to use the center position. And what that does is that focuses on the project itself that you're doing, the center. Wherever that is on this particular letter, it's in the center. That's what this does here. If I want to do it left hand corner, it'll do it down here. So we're going to choose center. I don't need to put this in the center because you can go up here to edit and center to material, and it'll put it in the center. I don't necessarily need to do that because we're going to change the position to 0, 0 down here, and I'll explain why as we get going in this. But first thing we're going to do is we're going to create our pocket and our mail portion of the inlay. And how we're going to do that is go over here to the app button. You can see it looks like a little Lego. You click on that, and as you can see, Easel Pro has a lot of stuff you can do in here and a lot of apps that are pretty neat. One that we're going to focus on right now is the inlay generator. So we're going to select that. What it does is it takes that letter K and makes your female version and your male version to the exact size. So now you just click import. And it's as simple as that. You've got both of your carves ready to go. I'm going to create another page, but before I do that, I'm going to come back to the original and I'm going to take this pocket that's been created. I want to copy this, and then we're going to go to the next page and I'm going to paste. You have to go up here to edit and paste, and there's our pocket. Okay, now it's already selected center. I want to make sure that the position is centered. So we're going to go 0 into position and 0 into position for X and Y. We need to go over here and check our cut settings. We definitely don't want it that deep, so we're going to go back here. We're going to do 1/4 inch, so 0.25. Then we are going to check our cut settings. I want to change the feed rate here. I want to go a little bit faster. You have to switch it to manual, okay? I think we're going to go to 60. Our plunge rate is 12, that'll be fine. But I do want to change this. I think I want to make it 0.1. And what that is a little bit less than 1/8 of an inch. That should do it. Now, we can simulate this by dragging this back over and simulating the toolpath. It'll tell you that it's going to take you 8 minutes to carve. and it's going to carve it at the 0, 0 point. Alright, so let's get rid of that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create the male version of that. I'm going to come back to the original. I'm going to select the male version and I'm going to copy that. And then we're going to go to this new page and we're going to paste. I'm going to use a piece of maple. Let's see, hard maple. The dimension of that's going to be 9 inches by 9 inches. I've already done all this research. There's no guessing here. And it's 1.5 inches thick. We are going to position it in the lower left-hand corner. And I'm going to select that because I want it to zero off of this lower left-hand corner. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because I'm going to carve this and then take this block of wood over to the bandsaw and I'm going to cut this letter out. Let's go to the cut settings. I want this to be a little bit thicker. I'm going to do 3/8 of an inch. We're going to go to cut settings. Right now we're set up for this, what we did on the pocket, which is fine. I'm going to leave it like that. So that'll be good there. So now that we've done this, we're going to go over here and we're going to name this project. And we'll save that. So let's go over to the portion that we're going to carve in the cutting board and make our tool path. So we're going to go up here to machine and I'm going to select the Longmill. Okay, make sure that is selected so that it creates the proper G code for your project so you can carve it on your Longmill. Now go to project and we're going to download the G code and we're going to save that. That's it. We're done with that one. So now what we're going to do is the same thing. We're going to go to project and we're going to download our G code and that's going to be called the male version and we're going to save it. So let's head over to GSender and get started. We're going to open up GSender. Make sure your machine is turned on and it should just go ahead and connect. Okay, we're going to click. First thing we need to do, I do have homing switches, so we're going to click home and you can hear the machine going through its cycle. It's homing. I home to the back left hand corner, just easier for me because I use this table a lot of times for a workbench, as you know. So I guess what we're going to do first here is we're going to do the female version of the inlay in the cutting board first. I've got the cutting board mounted in the Longmill and we're going to go over here to load file. We're going to do the female version and as you can see it placed it right in the center. Now I chose to zero off the center of my board because I want this K in the center of the board. I am going to do a X and Y and I'm also going to do a Z, but I'm only going to use the Z with the touch probe. I'm going to move the mill to the center of the board where I've marked the center and then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to zero my X and Y. Then I'm going to go to my touch probe, lay it upside down on the center of the board, do the probe, go ahead and do your Z height. And then from there we're going to start the machine. And how we do that is by clicking right here, start job. I'm going to run the GSender program for the outline or the male portion, and we're going to do it the same way. Pretty straightforward with GSender. I am going to do some GSender videos here in the near future, so hopefully we can answer your questions then. And by all means, you can always leave me a comment, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have. And if I can't answer them, I'll get the answer for you. Let's get carving here. Okay, so attaching the board was pretty straightforward, just like you do anything else when you're cutting something on the mill. Keep in mind these compression bits are a 3mm upcut, which is a little less than 1/8 of an inch. So the burrs you're seeing are non-existent basically in the base of your carve, so it doesn't interfere with your inlay. Pretty cool. We're going to get rid of this portion. We're going to open up the male portion, and there you go. And all that basically is the outline of what's going to fit in. I already have the board cut, so my Z, X, and Y are going to change. And in this case, we can use the XYZ because you can see my 0 point is going to be over here where the Z is, and I've positioned the K in the bottom left hand corner. So we're going to do the touch probe, do all 3 axes, and go ahead and start the job. Okay, so it's the same process with the male version. I went down about 3/8 to 7/16 of an inch, and we took it over to bandsaw and cut the letter out. I've got the pocket cut out, and I got down 1/4 of an inch like I wanted to. Came out really well. Then I took my 9x9 piece of maple here, and I cut out our male version. That came out really well. So, like I was saying, I use my bandsaw just to trim that off. Now, if you don't have a bandsaw, you can definitely use a thinner piece of wood. And most generally, now I get my wood, my hardwoods anyways, from a mill, and I get them all at 8/4 or better. So because I make quite a few cutting boards, so, and charcuterie boards actually, it was easy for me to do this. But you can order it if you wanted to buy it from a mill. You could order it 1/2 inch thick, 3/4 inch thick, whatever you wanted. You can even get 1/4 inch maple and other hardwoods as well. But in this case, I had a 2-inch piece of maple, and I cut a 1/2 inch off of it and took the K out. Now, I may use this again. I'm not really sure. Honestly, I hate to throw anything like that away, but I do have about 1 3/8 left on this block that I can do other inlays, and I will be doing other inlays. I just don't know what they are yet. So, but anyway, that's kind of what I did. I haven't done anything with this except set it aside. I'm gonna try the fit, and it really does fit well. It's kind of crazy how that comes out. They've got this program down pat. Now I know I could do this in Carveco. I'm not as familiar with Carveco, and quite honestly, Easel was a lot easier for me. And it might be for you too. Maybe you'll want to use Carveco. What we're going to do next here is we're going to do a little fine sanding on the male piece, and then we're going to glue it in. And then we are going to add some maple edges. Then we're going to cut this to size and sand it, and we'll give it to the rightful owner. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go on the back side of this letter, and I'm going to just kind of chamfer the back edge. So I did not do a lot of chamfering. I just used a piece of 150 grit sandpaper and kind of put a little bevel on the back side of the letter. I'm using Type Bond 3 glue here, and that is a food grade glue. I use it for all my cutting boards. Now, setting this in was rather simple. It went in nice. Obviously, the glue adds a little lubricant, but it really went in nice. Now, I took that board, and as you can see, I just tapped it in, made sure until it sounded a little bit different, and I knew I had hit bottom. So I got an idea. I thought, you know what? I think I'm going to use this board to hold this letter down while it dries. We will give that overnight to dry. It probably only needs a couple hours, but we'll give it overnight. I will glue on the maple sides, make it a little bit wider. Right now it's about 11.5. I want to get it out to about 14. Once we get all that done, we'll run it through the drum sander and flatten it really good, and then we'll do a bunch of hand sanding on this. So I finally get to use my 24-inch Jorgensen bar clamps. They worked out really well for this project. What I'm doing now is I'm setting up the Laguna 1632 drum sander in order to flatten out the board, and it worked really well. I started out with 60 grit and worked my way up to 180. I took it down to 180 with my palm sander, my orbital palm sander, and you know what I didn't show you was that I wet that surface. That's the hardest part, or the most time-consuming part of a project like a cutting board, especially a cutting board, because you want that surface to be nice and smooth. The only way to get that is by repetitive sanding. You have to wet and sand, wet your board again, let it dry, raise the grain, sand again. And you have to do that with progressively finer grades of sandpaper. I have the great fortune, to have a 1632 Laguna in my shop. That drum sander is a godsend. And for the arthritis in my hands, it really helps out a lot if I don't have to do a lot of hand sanding. That thing took it down to 180 grit, and I wet it. I didn't show you that on camera. Let it dry, ran it through that without cranking it down, just letting it take it off. Brought it over here, and I'm 180 grit again. I wet it again. Now I'm moving to 220 grit. I very rarely go past 220. I know a lot of people like to go up to 400 or 1,000. Can you feel it in your hands? I really can't feel 1,000 versus 220. It all feels smooth to me. If I'm not cutting my finger or putting a splinter in it, it's pretty smooth, right? I'm excited about it. We'll get to the finish of this. We'll put the mineral oil and beeswax finish on it, and she will look good, I promise you. So stay with us. Hey, not only can you go to Sienci Labs website to purchase your Longmill, which I'm sure you already have, you can also go there and check out their online store. Yes, they do have an online store where you can get a variety of products, accessories for your mill, dust boots, touch plates, and router bits. You can even buy a router there. And yes, I did say router bits. Sienci Labs has one of the biggest collections of router bits for the benchtop CNC that you will ever need, and they're high quality. So go to the link in the description below and check out their online store. You'll be happy you did. Gotta flip it over. Been a long day. Okay. I've already wet this and let it dry. I got the back going here. This is the back side. Really pretty green on this. It does have a couple of holes in it that I'm going to have to fill in a little bit, but very pretty green on the back. Easel did exactly what I wanted it to do. That program worked perfectly. There was nothing wrong with this inlay. The tolerances were exactly perfect. What more can I say about that? You saw how easy it was to do that. So this is the proof. I can't wait to do more intricate inlays. I think that's going to be something that I'm going to do quite a few of, I get the feeling. But anyhow, I gotta give props to the Longmill as well. It's one thing to put a program together that can do exactly what you want it to do, but it's another to have a machine that can do the same thing. Those 1/8 inch compression bits are absolutely amazing. I highly recommend that you all just go pick up a pack or two and try that. They are so good. I'll leave a link to those bits in the description below. We need to get moving along on this. I will probably get the router out next. Then we'll do a little more sanding and put a finish on it. Looks like it's an 1/8 inch round over. Let's try that and see what it comes out like. We can always go bigger, we can't go smaller. Plug your ears. Well, you know, I kind of like it, actually. Minimalistic, nothing fancy, but a nice round, comfortable edge. Well, that about does it for the inlay video. My first inlay video was a success. And all thanks to, of course, the Longmill, which performed flawlessly, and Easel Pro. I was amazed at how easy it was to do an inlay. It set up both the male and the female with a click of the button, and it fit perfectly. I can't wait to do more. It's that easy. So if you liked the video, everyone, please subscribe to our channel. Go to the videos in my playlist for CNC Labs and check out the giveaway video and make sure you enter. It's a 1,000 subscriber giveaway. I'm giving away 3 projects plus a fantastic bit package from CNC Labs. I'm going to draw the winner when I reach 1,000 subscribers. So by all means, enter to win. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your support. Take care, everyone, and be safe out there.